Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 217 of the Classic Elite Podcast. My name is Scott. I've got Dustin with me, and Dustin, you've got some competition in the dancing department.
Yeah, I know. Making me look bad.
Appreciate your grinder.
Yeah, we are joined tonight by our friend John Dahl from YouTube. What's up, John?
Hello. Hi, how's it going?
Hey, can I be scoot a little closer to the mic's having trouble picking you up?
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Right, thanks for coming back. This time, though, I promise I'm not going to lose the first half of the conversation.
Okay.
So I felt like
Sounds
I
good.
wasted like an hour of your life last time.
I won't hold you to that just in case.
I still haven't gotten over it, if it's any consolation. But you may be familiar with John. He is pretty big on YouTube with his Pranksters and Love channel. I personally love the fishing and the video game channel. John's gaming channel, but most recently John's fishing
going on
channel.
there. But so like I don't game as much as I used to. I still love gaming, but I'm kind of like, I guess I've grown up a little bit. I had a kid, I'm a dad now. But the fishing and the cooking, definitely passion projects of mine. So it's cool to be able to do stuff like that. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, John,
Yeah.
I don't think you and Nikki were married, let alone parents, last time you were on.
Yeah. Still not married. Just living in sin with the kid. So.
She's very cute.
We
She's very
actually
cute.
picked a day to get married, but the day got picked by somebody else before we could book it. So now it's up in the air again.
Oh, well, is what it is, right?
Yep, it works. But yeah,
It'll just be an arbitrary point in time to get each other gifts in the future. So
yeah, registered domestic partner.
So, but yeah, John, thanks for coming on, man. I'm excited to have you on.
Looking forward to it.
And well, Dustin, man, how has the week been?
So far, so good.
Yeah. Any work issues? Any
Halfway
social
home.
stuff?
All right, hump day. No, not really. Tickets have calmed down. I've been chugging along, getting the really broken stuff sent out. It's been good.
Fixing problems. That's good. I don't have really anything all that exciting other than I wasn't going to share this on the podcast, but I guess I might as well. John, you live in La La Land, so maybe you'll know people that have taken this dive with me.
Okay.
So I'm trying Soylent as breakfast every morning. I'm terrible at breakfast. Like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Now I enjoy
Most
breakfast
important meal
food.
of the day.
I know and I've ignored it my entire life.
Oh, that's not good.
So I've decided that I'm going to drink goop that will give me nutrition to start the day. And I gotta say, it's kind of good. Like, first thing in the morning, it doesn't, it's bizarre. Like, it's a shake powder thing. I'm not much on, like, protein shakes, but I don't know. Like, I actually feel a little bit better as the day started on. So, Dustin, I'm trying powdered food. It even says that on the bag.
Powdered
That's
food. Awesome. Yeah, the while back they came out with like a breakfast cereal bar type Soylent deal from Soylent, and it made everybody sick, and they recalled them all. So,
really?
But the powdered mix formula is supposed to be okay. I have a friend in LA who's all about it, and he mixes cinnamon in with it with like milk to get like a cinnamon crunch toast type flavor, or he'll put coffee in it, or it in its coffee. I'm not quite sure how it works, but I've never tried it, but I know a lot of people who are all about stuff like that.
It's not bad. I just need better nutrition, so I figured it would be a good way to give that.
I'm more like eggs, toast, and sausage.
I am, but I can't do that first thing in the morning.
Well, that's better than for dinner.
I love that shit for dinner, or for a fourth meal.
Brenner.
Give me Denny's after a night out. So.
Oh yeah. Sure.
But we
breakfast
are
is good any time of day.
for sure. We are we're a video game podcast. We have a couple of quick announcements, and then we'll be chatting about the news. First, we do want to remind everybody that our friends at the Cartoon Retrocast are giving away a Switch with Zelda. I'll have the video linked in the description so you can see all the different ways you can enter.
I'm gonna sign up for that.
You should. Hey, I hope you would win because you helped us give away a box NES years ago.
That was cool.
That was a lot of fun.
I wish I could have signed up for that giveaway too, but I didn't. But that was that was neat. And now years later, when all this retro stuff is coming back full circle, it was just cool. I hope somebody whoever got that really appreciated it because it was really neat.
I don't know if they did. I just remember they were in Oregon. They seemed excited when I sent it. So
yeah, well, good for them.
Yeah, now that I look back on it, it was so cavalier. Like those, like box NESs were just around.
Yeah,
and now it's like a $500
for a mini,
right?
Yeah,
for the remake is going for what it was then. So. Go to the cartoonretrocast.com for details. Again, also we'll have that linked in the description. And some house cleaning stuff. We kind of have a regular schedule for YouTube and streaming and whatnot. So Mondays, Tony's going to be streaming stuff for good buddy Tony. Tuesdays, I'm going to be continuing to do my NES games with my AVS. So nice 720p, 60 frames a second NES games. Wednesdays, of course, we record live on Twitch, so you can watch us record the podcast live. Fridays is when the podcast will be going up, and Saturdays, mostly Sundays, Dustin will be playing some Cyberpunk games on our YouTube channel. So that's some housekeeping and whatnot. John, did you have anything that you wanted to chat about before we jump into any of the new stuff?
Nope.
Cool.
Not really. You guys got a great YouTube channel. I'll just say that.
Hey, thanks.
Real diverse. Cover a lot of different content, which is always nice.
Appreciate it, man.
See, a lot of like collaborative efforts. I don't know. They don't align as well as you guys do, so it's good.
Thanks. We've had a lot of fun with it over the long haul. It's really truly a hobby for us, and luckily we all have different tastes. So it just the nice mix just is incidental. It's certainly not planned, but it's worked out real well, and it's a lot of fun.
You compliment each other well.
Dustin's a cinnamon to my Soylent, I guess. So
there you go. Don't need the coffee.
Hey, well, the first thing that I wanted to talk about this week, and John, had you heard anything about the Deus Ex and Tomb Raider teams switching over to work on an Avengers game with Crystal Dynamics?
A little bit. I mean, I kind of looked through the link that you had sent me, which is kind of interesting. The whole concept of creating another Marvel universe in a different, dimension as far as video games concerned. I can see it being really like huge and popular and big. Hopefully they do it right. Which I don't know. Tomb Raider over the years, I think has always been quite a quality game. And it's always been enjoyable to play, but the whole superheroes thing is just so like crazy and vast and expansive that, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Dustin, this has got to bum you out. You've been enjoying Deus Ex Mankind Divided so much, and
Deus Ex, a fantastic game.
And it's on hold. Really good. I can't wait for you guys to talk about it. Dustin did a big. I was disappointed, Dustin. You did a 5-hour stream on Sunday or Saturday.
Yeah,
I skipped to the end to see what your thoughts of the game were, and you didn't finish the game. I thought for sure if you had put that much time in on stream, you were just really close to finishing it.
I don't even know if I'm halfway yet.
Man,
John, it's a bummer. Some games get pushed aside because the popular demand or whatever for said Marvel comic book characters. I don't know. It's just a weird dynamic for me because I don't immerse myself in. I don't think I've seen the last couple of Avenger movies. I don't know. It's like a weird subject for me because I grew up with superheroes and comic books, and then to see them just like being molded and transformed into these money making machines, it's just odd. So I don't know. It's hard for me to follow sometimes.
I can understand that. Did you get into reading any of the comics when we were kids, or is it just like game stuff?
Yeah, just games and cartoons, really. Some comic books. My brother had a ton of comics, but I was always just like hell bent on destroying them. He was my brother.
You must have been the little brother.
Yeah, 4 years younger.
Typical. I'm the older brother, so.
No.
my skin crawled when you were like, I was destroying his comics. I'm like, it had to be a little brother.
Yeah.
My favorite growing up, when it came to comic books, were the hologram trading cards for Marvel. Do you remember those?
Mhm.
Vaguely.
I loved them. So
Yeah.
I don't know, Dustin. Is there any way that I don't know, that you'd be okay with them moving into, I guess, just being a moneymaker type of situation, or are you a little jaded?
I think it would be awesome. I think they could be the first to do really good superhero / licensed games. And
Well,
I
I
think
mean,
that would be a big deal.
Batman was pretty awesome, like the Arkham
Yeah.
games. But Marvel, other than some, I hear people talk about some Spider-Man games, but
I
otherwise,
like that they were willing to push Batman back past its release date because they still had to work on it a little bit, which is always nice to see a huge company like just trying to push games out the door as fast as they can to actually step back and say, "Ah, we'll fix this," and not just patch it.
yeah, we've always said that too, and
Yeah.
people get upset about a game being pushed back from its release date. Our thoughts usually like, oh, thank God, just
Yeah.
make sure it's
Exactly.
ready.
Well, the whole mentality is like, oh, we'll just patch it day one, and then you create this whole host of other issues that have now you have to go back and patch those, and that'll take like 6 months for you to develop something to work around whatever issues you had. I don't know, drives me nuts.
It
Corporate
is.
greed.
It is frustrating when that happens, especially when you are on. If you're mainly a console player, where it costs money to push patches out for the studio, then they have to like hold stuff back and can't do quick fixes cheaply and free like you can with Steam or whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I think this conversation stems into the channel of the week stuff, but like Kickstarter games, it's like a great concept because they answer to the contributors and the fans and people who donated money, and they aren't necessarily buying to these corporate money making billion-dollar franchises that the only thing we're going to work on is making sure that Iron Man and Captain America come together and work with the Hulk to do this or that. It's, that's what movie directors, famous movie directors that inevitably sign on to make money doing the Marvel franchise, they'll use huge names, but then they'll step back and say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore because like they literally ruined the best scene in the movie by like some executive coming down and saying, hey, this action figure is what we're selling right now, so somehow you have to work this into this scene right here like this, and it's they lose creative control over the demand for what people want, which is, I don't know. It doesn't ever end well for people who like the creative freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does feel like sometimes they Jar Jar Binks some stuff, where it's like, hey, we're selling this guy, he's going to be in there. I'm pretty excited because I like Tomb Raider a lot, and Dustin likes Deus Ex Mankind Divided a lot. So
both great games.
So for me, I'm optimistic. I would love to, and I don't know a ton about Marvel other than what's in the movies. Yeah. So they'll be able to hopefully explore some storylines that I'm not familiar with at all, which could be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be cool to see like a sandbox world type game with maybe different interchangeable characters. You could fly around as Iron Man, or you could like climb buildings and smash stuff with the Hulk or whatever, throw a tank at somebody. I don't know, whatever, Captain America, how he fits into that situation, or but yeah, I don't know. It could be like you said. I've loved Tomb Raider my whole life. I followed that series across multiple platforms, PC, computers, whatever, and then back to the consoles, and it's just fun to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved both of the new Tomb Raiders. I didn't have a PlayStation or a PC that could run it growing up, but that 2013 Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider I thought were excellent. So I'm optimistic that the Avengers game is going to be rad. Who knows when it'll ever come out, but Square Enix has quietly been doing some awesome stuff. I don't feel like I hear people talk about them enough. Their mobile stuff, while it's priced pretty high, is well done. So if you get Final Fantasy or Chrono Trigger on Apple or Android or whatever, it generally is a really good port of the game. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think they've always kind of been a company that's been able to set themselves apart from whatever the masses are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that
Yeah, and they've got that smaller studio that's making the smaller portion that's making those old school RPGs. Like, it's just doing some really cool stuff, and I'll be paying more attention to Square moving forward. So, the next thing is this is a bit unfortunate. Masaya Nakamura is the gentleman who founded Namco, and he passed away this week at the age of 91. And for any listeners that aren't aware, Namco did Pac-Man. You know, he hired the guy and he approved Pac-Man, which, and I mean, there was a point in time in the 80s where Pac-Man was more recognizable than Mickey Mouse across the world. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it was quite the game. Still, it still is like a relic. Like you go into arcades. A big trend, I think, across the country is like arcade bars or bar arcades. And it's like there's always a couple Pac-Man machines because like they're always busy. Like one's not enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like the shape of those because I think Midway were the ones that distributed it here in the States. And like Galaga has the same shape to its cabinet. And it's not the boxy kind of Nintendo style. It's got some, I don't know, some flair to it or whatnot. I've always really liked the Pac-Man and Galaga cabinets. And I prefer Miss Pac-Man a little bit because the levels can change and there's more variation with the dip switch options. But I mean, Pac-Man's freaking Pac-Man. So
yeah, iconic. Definitely.
And it's still fun. Like there's when I'm at a bar with my buddy John. I wish I was in LA right now instead of Finley. Different John. We always bet over Galaga or Pac-Man for beers.
Yeah.
Like who's getting the next round because we're pretty even with that. And so they're still fun, even though Pac-Man's 37 years old now. Pretty awesome.
Still looks good. Not a lot of wrinkles.
The next thing that I wanted to bring up was John. Did you ever play Ori and the Blind Forest on Xbox or PC?
Well, I think I may have like demoed it a few times.
Okay, it's like a Metroidvania, beautiful hand painted thing.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite games that I've played in a while. And the lead developer at Moon, the studio, came out kind of swinging at PlayStation a bit. Now, granted, Ori would have never came out without Microsoft backing them. So, there's definitely some bias there. But he came out and said, look, the PS4 Pro is just kind of a half-assed iteration, whereas the Xbox Scorpio will be a full generation step forward with full backwards compatibility. So all your quote-unquote old games will continue to work.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting for a developer to come out and say, so now we're going to have Nintendo in the middle like they always are.
Yeah.
And suddenly PlayStation here in a few months might feel like they're way behind.
Yeah.
Which for this generation is wild.
It's so hard for consoles and console game creators and console creators want to move towards streamlining Xbox, Windows, Play Anywhere, PC. We can play on the Scorpio or you can play with friends on PC, and there's such a hard integration there and trying to get these machines to communicate with each other that if you don't really create the next generation console like Scorpio and Xbox has ruined I don't know anything about it, but like you said, and PlayStation, it always seems like it's one or the other. The Sony or Xbox is like killing it, and the other one just like screwed something completely up. And it seems like one of those situations again where Sony was like, "Oh, we're gonna sidestep making this awesome machine and kind of like use a loophole to make it 4K," and people are like inevitably are gonna be pissed off about it.
Yeah, you're right. It feels like they always keep taking their leads for granted, whoever it is.
Yeah, it's one or the other.
Like, Sony had PS2, they're like, yeah, we sold the most ever. They kick back. 360 comes out, and I think the PS3 might have ultimately evened the score, but Xbox just dominated then. And then, sure enough, Xbox says, hey, we're going to DRM everything, and Sony's like, we're not, and then they just exploded.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. They've done. I think Xbox has done a better marketing job too over the last couple of years to really like sell their new machine versus the Sony. I mean, I love Sony too. Like I'm a huge Sony guy, Sony cameras, Sony TV, but I don't know. I moved away from the PlayStation after the third one and have gravitated more towards PC. But I also have an Xbox. But it seems like PC, the master race, all that stuff is like people really want to make sure they have the highest and like best performing machine that they can versus getting stuck on the wayside with something that's not up to date.
except for our good buddy Dustin over there, he strives for lo-fi.
Yeah.
Hey, we got Tony in the chat. What's up, Tony? Thanks for joining, man.
Oh yeah, you know what? My chat got shut down. I should open that back up.
Yeah, I don't know, Dustin. What's your gut tell you about Ori's developer talking shit?
I don't know. That's a good question. Like you said, there probably is some bias there due to the fact that Ori exists because of Microsoft. But at the same time, he could just be giving it how it is. Like maybe Sony was so invested in R&D for the VR headset that they kind of missed the bus on the console.
Yeah. It maybe could be a Vita situation, and they put a lot of R&D into the Vita, and then it just wasn't supported enough. I've heard that the PSVR is very hard to find right now since Resident Evil launched.
My friend has one. It's cool.
I've got one. I like it. I wouldn't recommend it, but I knew what I was getting before I got it.
There's part of the problem I think with VR too is the disconnect that like you need like a $2,000 or $3,000, $4,000 or $5,000 computer to run some of these high end games, and the high end like the horsepower behind it is way up there. Not a lot of people foresee that. They're like, oh, I want to get an Oculus Rift. Well, it's like, okay, if you want to get an Oculus Rift, you also need to get this really high end computer. It's really expensive.
Yep.
And some people just I don't know whether they can't afford it or don't know about it, are kind of shocked when they find out.
Yeah, like there's a significant barrier to entry, and even if you already have a PlayStation 4, it's $500-$600 to even just get started on the PlayStation, and that's the budget version. For the most part, most of my friends have been very impressed when they've tried PSVR, but the software is just not there. I wanted to do it so bad, and the bundle, I made an impulse buy. The bundle was impossible to find. It happened to be at a grocery store I was at. I'm like, I'm getting it. We're
doing grocery store.
Well, one of those like it's kind of like a Walmart. It's called Meijer. Do they have that in Minnesota? Meijer?
No, but I've heard of them.
Okay, so it's kind of like that. So yeah, I'm very excited though that the developer has an opinion on the Scorpio. Because Ori was such a good game, then that means another game is coming out. And most likely, John, like you had just mentioned with the PC integration with that kind of Microsoft ecosystem, I'll probably be able to get the new Ori game without the Xbox, and I can't wait. Fuck, I love Ori.
Yeah, I don't know. That like exclusive titles like tied to certain consoles, like sometimes it drives me nuts. It's like, you could just like make this game for everybody. It'd probably be like better for everyone. They're so stubborn.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes you wish Elon Musk was running all of these.
Yeah.
He's the one that's like
video games. I'd like to see him create his own console. Just put that out there.
He needs to give those guys something to do on their way to Mars. So
yeah.
But just the way he made his. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's what I like about. What I dislike and like about Nintendo is they're so controlling over like everything that they do in the material that they make in the games that they publish. But I like with the success of Mario Run, I would like to see them get more into the mobile mindset of like, we can put this game out and sell it for $10 and everyone will love it.
Nintendo, I love what they do with hardware. As frustrating as it can be sometimes, but their software is what really sells people. So, more access to... Now, I heard this is a total big rumor. I was listening to a podcast today, and this is all speculative, but supposedly with NVIDIA making the Nintendo Switch chip, it looks like they've forged quite a partnership, and it looks like the Wii U new Super Mario, that kind of 2D side-scroller updated one that's the style of Mario Run, will be available on the NVIDIA Shield in China. So a Mario,
sure,
a Mario on a different, like, current console. You know, we haven't seen that since the Philips.
I saw the GTA mod of the new Mario, like somebody had done, like Mario in the city, and I thought it was real, and I was just like, "What are they doing?" And somebody told me it was a joke. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Well, just that he was tall. He's gonna be in a city in the new one. It's called what was it? New not Dank.
New Donk City.
New Donk City.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah, but I'm a big. I love Zelda. I probably will buy the Nintendo Switch simply to get Zelda. You know,
as long as there's not major manufacturing defects early on, there will inevitably be great titles by the end of that console's life. So, if you want to play Zelda, I think it's totally reasonable to get it.
Yeah. Zelda anywhere.
And then, are either of you guys familiar with Yooka Layle, the people that made Banjo-Kazooie, that made their own kind of Kickstarter company?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's already gold, and the game doesn't release until April 21st. This was confirmed by the developer's Twitter account, Platonic Games. Great. I don't know. I
like it.
There's been a real big, dearth between... Like, it feels like games are either, made by 1 to 3 people or hundreds. A Spec Ops The Line isn't coming out right now. That sort of middle, not quite AAA, but some good polish and oomph behind it.
Like a good B.
Yeah, a good B. I'm optimistic this is going to be a $40 game when it comes out. It's already gold, so it's been successful. And maybe
Banjo-Kazooie was always just so entertaining to play, and I don't know. I hope they can capture that spirit and feeling of the game. Yeah, people will love it.
They released that sandbox thing where people could kind of toy around a little bit, and I heard positive things about the mechanics and stuff. So that'd be great. We have Trent joining us in chat. What's up? They're asking, or he's asking, if any of us have played Xenogears. I haven't.
I have not.
I played the demo once.
Is that in the Xenoblade thing, or is it?
I think it's the precursor.
Okay,
maybe. I
didn't know if maybe it was just a whole different. You got Ridley Scott aliens running around, and it just sounds similar. It's a PS1 game. Dustin, man, always. John Dustin's an encyclopedia, and it's amazing.
I had a Sega Saturn, and we got a PlayStation 1 for Christmas, and that's what I wanted. And my brother is 4 years older than me. He's talked me into returning it and buying a Sega Saturn because he thought it was a superior system. And I just man, I remember how disappointed I was. Every time I go to my friend's house and play PlayStation, I'd be like, what did you do? Bad. Yeah, but there was one game on there that was awesome. It was a space asteroid destroying game. I forgot what it was called, but it was the greatest game ever. And then I went back and played it. 10 years later, it was awful.
My friend had a Saturn. We played Virtua Fighter on it, and I remember thinking, "Oh, this looks like the arcade game. Whoa, this is." Let's go back to the N64 and play some wrestling if we're gonna do this.
Yeah,
some WWF, WCW. Is that the one we played?
WWF Raw, I think, with Stone Cold Steve Austin. That was a good one. Loved it.
We could pull trash cans and chairs out of the stands, even though the stands were just
nothing was there.
Yeah.
Whoop.
So whichever one. The wrestling games like that are just so fun when you have people around.
The new ones are so complicated with like the combos of moves that whenever I go online and play, like 2K16, I think was available as like a gold game of the month. People literally just like beat the snot out of me religiously. It's just it takes all the fun out of it.
I have the 13 maybe on PS3 because you could get like Ultimate Warrior and stuff.
Yeah.
Dustin, did you ever get into wrestling games?
No.
No. Okay. Straightforward. So if I were to ask if you... never mind. I was going to bust out like a Mr. Perfect Intercontinental Belt reference, but it wasn't going to work. Tony in chat says that he also had the Saturn over the PlayStation, and he would play the PlayStation at his friends and then go and play Virtua Fighter and tell myself, don't worry, cool games are coming out.
Yeah. Right around the corner.
The thing that was a bummer was Virtua Fighter in the arcade and Virtua Racing in the arcade were awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I doubt they hold up well, but at the time that was incredible. And then Tekken came and showed them how to really do 3D fighting. All right, and then the last bit of news this week is Dustin. I don't know if you remember this or not,
Daytona, USA.
yes, I like those games.
Daytona.
Yeah,
Yep.
Tony's on point. A few years ago, Dustin, I talked about Megaman 2.5D, and it was in beta, and it was like co-op Megaman. I just saw an article at Polygon. The game's out. It came out yesterday, and
right.
it's a full release instead of just being the beta. I don't know how long this will be available. Capcom might shut them down tomorrow. Capcom might not care. Who knows? But I'll link the Polygon article in the description. They have a download link there. It's an executable. You can get it from their site. It's funny. It's like Josh and Tom's blog. It's like you and I sat down, Dustin, and made a game and just named the site after ourselves without thinking that you need to be more official than that. But I liked it. It was brutally difficult, and my buddy that I played it with didn't grow up on Mega Man, so the co-op didn't go real well. But
how close are we to a Mega Man anniversary? Because if we're really close, then Capcom will let it slide.
Oh yeah. Well, they just did nothing on the 25th, so that was a year or so ago. Yeah, they probably aren't aware of it, or won't care. That's cool. So check that out. And then Dustin, it is time for YouTube channel of the week.
YouTube channel of the week. Okay,
who'd you pick this week?
This week I found a channel called Ludodrome. I was looking up stuff, just clicking through some Deus Ex stuff, and they have a brief history of Deus Ex, and that's really good.
Brief history, I love it.
It's about 37 minutes long.
Yeah. I watched their brief. I watched the channel because you had recommended it, but I went to watch their brief history of Myst, and I ended up watching the whole thing. It was 45 minutes, but it was great. It was really well put together.
Yeah. So right now they have 872 subscribers.
What?
And their production value is excellent. Like their intro is awesome. They do kind of like short form essays on video games. Like they did one on the fluidity of Prince of Persia. Games in black and white.
Too. I watched that.
These guys are going to blow up eventually.
Yeah. I think we were discussing it before we went live, but like I wanted to continue to watch the videos that they were posting, and because they were really in depth, well done, very informative, with just a lot of info. And I never really understood the depth of Myst and the people behind it and the projects that they worked on. But it kind of like laid the whole thing out for me, and I found a new game, Abduction, which is like everything they wanted Myst to be, basically. That was interesting. And I found probably 4 or 5 games on that channel that I now want to play because of the videos that they made, which it doesn't happen to me a lot. So I don't know. Compliment is what I'm.
That speaks volumes. If you don't typically watch a YouTube video and immediately want to buy that game, and then they're having that effect on you, I think that says something. And it kind of reminded me of that a little bit, Dustin. This is a bit of a tangent, but in the new Bombcast, they were shouting out Retro USB and My Life in Gaming, who we've been... not that these guys need any help, but
Right.
it was... John, both of us are really big fans of GiantBomb.com and their website. And they're huge. They're one of the biggest biggest podcasts in gaming. So...
That's cool.
it was really neat to hear them talk about stuff that we talk about in like the same kind of manner. Like, hey, we're getting in this rabbit hole. Here's what I know so far. Here's the resources I used. And I knew everything that they were talking about because within the last 4 or 5 months, I've also been nerding out over that and trying to get the most perfect pictures out of my old consoles and all that stuff. So it was really cool.
Yeah, that GameSpot guy talking about like all the different monitors and how to get RGB and stuff. It's a super fascinating conversation.
Yeah, it really was.
Really cool.
Yep. Yeah, he was talking about getting professional monitors that take different RGB inputs and where to find different stuff. And I was telling Dustin a couple weeks ago, I've been eyeing certain Sony professional monitors on eBay to wait for one to get listed at the right kind of price. Yeah, I don't know. That's... John, I mean, you produce content and you've got cameras and stuff, so you understand the chase for the perfect fidelity.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's always changing so fast. But like you said, like the new goal is to like push 4K games on 4K monitors. It's all like so expensive, but I think like you said, it's interesting. You're just kind of waiting until that price like hits the right spot where you could just like jump into it and buy some of that stuff. But yeah, I haven't made the transition to creating 4K content yet, just because the masses haven't called for it yet. But it's pretty cool to play video games in 4K.
What's wild is because the way that the pixel count works out is 720p is a perfect integer for UHD 4K. So my NES games upscaled on my 4K TV look unbelievable, which is really funny.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I still play a lot of like ROMs and stuff. And I was always wondering, like if you fiddle with the settings and being able to like create quality like graphics or just old school stuff.
You really can. It because of the way that it interprets stuff is you just get those sharp. It's a pixel. And there's not a bunch of them, so you just get these really sharp edges, and it looks great. So,
yeah.
Well, cool. Well, yeah. Again, that's Ludo Drome, Ludo Drome, on YouTube, and yeah, they sound great. And hearing both of you guys gush about them, I'll be watching that catalog. They're small now, so I can marathon through it. I can binge watch it, and then
gotta get in the under 1,000 club,
right? That feels good. Let's see here. Tony says in chat that Scott finally bought out my share of Classic Elite, so I had more money to buy my first 4K TV. if only I could afford to buy you out, Tony.
I'm looking at the behemoth TV. Mine's old, but. Yeah, I just don't know what we're going to get.
The biggest thing that you need to focus... It's hard to get anything other than 4K now. Yeah. Just make sure it has HDR. That seems to be the it thing as far as making a big difference. I guess if you don't have HDR, it still upscales 1080p fine, but I guess the big difference is in there.
Yeah, growing up, I don't know how long ago this was, but HD TV was just being rolled out, and my uncle... He called and upgraded his cable package to HD TV when didn't buy a new TV, just thinking that he would get better picture. And it went for 6 months until Christmas, and he was like, I got HD TV package, but it looks the same to me. Everyone just started laughing at him. It's so funny.
I thought you were gonna say that he was one of the people that bought an HD TV. Upgraded the package.
TV, just upgraded their package.
But have you run into the parents or older people that bought the new TV, upgraded their internet package, but still go to channel 4, so it's that stretched out grainy shit instead of going to the HD channel, they're still looking at the old I've never heard of anybody upgrading to HD on a old 4x3 CRT though.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. And it was like old ass TV too. It's just funny.
Have like the woodwork like where it's a piece of furniture.
Yeah. That's just it's funny though. It always brings me back to like the rapid progression of technology and just how things change so fast.
It's wild. But I just think God that YouTube compresses stuff so much that the rat race as far as fidelity isn't that egregious yet because the bit rate's a little low. So we can get away with our 720p podcasts and everything's fine.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, so now we are going to talk about what we have been playing. So, John, before we started chatting, or before the show went live, you said that you hadn't played a ton lately, but what have you played most recently? And I guess what's on your to-do list coming up, or wish list?
Well, I revisited Halo Wars in anticipation of Halo Wars 2 coming out. So I spent, I think, maybe 4 or 5 hours playing the beta that was recently launched on Xbox Live. So that was fun. It's a game. The only game mode they had made available was called Blitz, which is it's like a card game. I think they honestly like the only reason they like included it was because of the success of like the game like Gwent, and Magic the Gathering and stuff like that. But there's been a big, in my like opinion, the last couple of years to push towards like card turn-based games. Well, this is you get like a hand and a deck, and then you are constantly going around this mini map trying to collect energy to play cards, and you have to like beat the other person. It's a domination type game where there's three points that need to be captured, and you have to have 2 of them to get points. So you're just constantly going back and forth. But I'm really, really excited about Halo Wars 2. I've always loved Command and Conquer, StarCraft. I played Warcraft 1, 2, and 3. I never played World of Warcraft, but so I'm really, really excited about that. I've been playing a little bit here and there. Battlefield 1, Rocket League's always classic. But I'm really, really excited about Wildlands. That's kind of the one on tap I have that's coming up that I'm like totally all about.
Cool. I'm excited about Horizon since that comes out soon. That looks pretty neat. Yeah, I guess what was maybe the favorite game you played last year? Whether it came out or not, like last year, but like even if it was Minecraft.
I've been playing a lot of Mario Run, believe it or not. Whenever I find myself like sitting somewhere waiting like for Nikki if she's shopping or whatever Iris is like at the park, or I'll just like sit there and I'm not paying attention. I'm like, yeah, how about some Mario Run?
I've done that with Clash Royale. I reinstalled that.
That's
a brilliant game.
Easy to get burnt out on those too. Clash of Clans, that was big for a while.
Yeah.
I guess I've noticed I've been playing and looking for a lot more like mobile-based games, tablet, phone, whatever it is, iOS, Google Play. But it just seems like I've been like traveling more, working more, doing like more stuff where I'm away from my like setup that I have at home, and so I've been looking for really good mobile stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
There was. Let me see if I can find it. I don't want to set my phone off. Someone's breaking in, Dustin.
It's cool.
They got to stop doing that to a veteran. You'll fuck them up. Crap! I can't remember. I don't know, John. There was a cool retro game I was gonna tell you, but I can't. I got too many crappy things.
Well, Rocket Bowl Racing was it? Because I missed that game.
No, it's called DD Tan. That's what it is.
DD Tan.
Yeah, it's kind of like. It's a great in-depth like mobile game. It kind of mixes some like breakout stuff from like old like arcade. I don't know. DD Tan is a really good pick up and play, kill some time, play this for a couple minutes.
I really like Trials on Xbox.
Oh yeah,
like that are pretty entertaining to play. You just try to like trial bike it up, balance how he's killing time. But I don't know. I feel like, and Tony and I have talked about this in the past, that like mobile gaming is kind of like the progressive future of a lot of like kids and what they're whole gaming world is based on, is playing like a 99-cent game for the first time on their parents' phone, and all of a sudden they're just sucked into the phone, and like that's their platform of choice until they grow up and find out that there's computers and consoles and all this other stuff. But they put so much more time and energy and resources into developing awesome mobile games that it's been enjoyable for me as a long time veteran gamer.
Mm-hmm. I feel really bad for the kids that are growing up with this, purely from the fact that we are lucky that we can go buy a cart off eBay if we really want to play a game again.
Yeah.
There's a really good chance that the game they loved when they were growing up, that they're really nostalgic for, they won't be able to find and emulate and download necessarily again. So, and there's so many, it might be hard for, like, since we all grew up when we did, we could talk about the Gummy Bears, and we all watched that shit, and we know what it is. And we all played Super Mario 3, and what a big deal that was. But these kids will be, like, really fractured, playing different 99-cent games that come about, different Match 3 games or whatnot. So when they're trying to figure out what they played as kids, no one's going to know what they were even talking about, because it was, like, the free app of the day on Amazon or whatever.
Company went out of business. No longer.
Like, how weird is... Oh, well.
Yeah.
Now,
and I think, too, the struggle, like, we were around, I would say not, like, for the invention of video games. As long as there's been computers, there's been some sort of game associated with it. But, like, we grew up with, like, I played my sister's Atari when I was, like, as soon as I could figure out how to hook something up to the TV, that's what I was doing. And, like, the progression of Nintendo and all these systems. But, growing up with 2D games, and then like going into like Mario's world and stuff like that, we saw the progression and the evolution of video games, and now it's like Call of Duty's been around, like Call of Duty like 30 or whatever too. So kids are introduced into these established games that are just completely different than the basic fundamentals of things that we, like you said, grew up on playing and learning about or whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of like people that have to jump into Doctor Who now. It's like it's been around since the 60s, but
yeah,
like now is their diving off point or whatever. So, all right, cool. Well, Dustin, man, what have you been playing?
Well, I was late to the podcast because I was beating Ratchet Clank.
Fair enough. That you are. I mean, we had a guest waiting. You can apologize to him in person, but I think it was worth it.
I understand.
I would have put it down and come back to it later, but Solomon was here, so.
Yeah,
Usually they go visit Granny, so I had the house to myself, and I actually would have been streaming Resident Evil 7. That was my plan. Yeah. But since my family was here, I was entertaining Solomon, Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, if Iris would come in, John, I'd be like, I understand, I get it. We got someone else joining us in chat. Hey, what's up, Jeff? 420 Blaze It 360. Hey,
he's up. What he's up to.
That's like. Thank you, legitimately. Thank you for joining. That's a hilariously stereotypical gamer tag.
Yeah, you need to throw some X's in there. You'll be set.
The 360 is nice because that means it started most likely with the 360.
Yeah, Xbox One now is just outdated.
Could be stuck with that name. Like PlayStation, you can't change your names anymore, or not anymore ever.
I always pick the worst handles and names of stuff because I don't necessarily think through to I might have this for a really long time. But yeah.
Okay, Jeff's
pure memes. That's the way you should live.
Jeff's embracing it. He's like, I'm pure memes. I hope you subscribe and join us every week. Legitimately, we love memes. So appreciate you joining, man. Yeah, You don't think about the concept. Well, there's no reason for us to think in 2005 that you're going to be stuck with something that if you're 13 and you make 420 Blaze at 360.
Yeah.
Like when you're 25 and you've got like your first
Change
real job.
Your work email.
Yeah. and you find people you want to play games with and you're like, well, I got to give you my my nickname I came up when I was 12. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's a PlayStation podcast I listen to, and people write in with stories about those awkward situations where someone's like, "Oh yeah, I play games. Let's meet up." And he's it is what it is. I just think that stuff's great. But Ratchet and Clank, Dustin, so now that you've finished it, what's your verdict? Did it hold up the whole time?
Absolutely. Yeah, the last 2 boss fights are excellent, and I can't wait to go through New Game Plus and like upgrade all the weapons and all that good stuff.
Always a big that's a big deal when you're itching to get to New Game Plus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't wait to play through it again.
Did so you mentioned Sully was there. How was his reaction when, I don't know, you got to see like the big boss battles and see credits roll? Like, was he sad? Was he excited?
He like the ending cinematic, he was kind of like meh. Like he was ready to start over and like do something else. But like during the boss fight, he was jumping around and like making sound effects and
sweet.
Yeah, it was great.
Cool. I just like I remember Megaman 2. I got really emotional at the end of Megaman 2. And I'm just always curious if kids have like still those kind of emotional reactions. Like, yeah,
well,
I wanted to
that
cry.
That was a deep ending. At the end where it's just the helmet sitting there. Like, man, what happened?
And it's got like that really haunting kind of music, and he's somberly walking through the seasons. Like, it wrecked me.
I was always a fan. Like, I would like jump, you know, like with a controller. And it's like I miss that, like the animated movements of like, and watching kids today. Like my nephew, he was, I think he's in 1st grade, but he went to like my sister, who's his mom, and he's like, "Mom, like I'm the only kid in my entire class that doesn't know what Minecraft is." And so she had to break down and buy a Minecraft Pocket Edition. And of course, I was home for Christmas, and he's telling me about how he doesn't know how to do anything Minecraft. I'm like, well, I'm like a Minecraft wizard. And so we sat there for like 2 hours and played Minecraft. But I'd be like, awesome. Run, like jump, and he'd just be like, like trying to like run away from a zombie. It was pretty funny.
Cool. That reminds Dustin, I did a little bit of an olive branch to the classic 1337 on YouTube.
Yeah, did we subscribe?
I subscribed to that channel, and then John. So there's another classic elite on YouTube, but they're 1337. Yeah. No big deal. But they've got just little like 1 minute YouTube videos up from different games they've played, and I watched a Minecraft video that just said wrecked, and it was just this dude like taking the high ground, like beating back zombies or opposing players. I think actually no, it was PvP. But I just made a comment like, "Hey, nice use of the higher ground, and I like your channel name." We were joking, John. I don't know, a couple of months ago that we were going to start beef with them.
YouTube drama.
Hey, that's good for views, I guess. No, I would wither in YouTube drama. I'm like, I'm sorry. Don't know.
Yeah, I just try to stay out of it because I just don't like. I ain't got time for that. It's crazy. Like some people that I know, I know a lot of different types of YouTubers in a lot of different circles, but it's like, geez, like sometimes they go like crazy, like thinking about YouTube stuff, and I'm just like, wow, like that's too much, Yeah,
and you guys have the kind of numbers where you are mixing with the 1 million plus subscriber crew on all that stuff. Yeah, 420 Blaze, it's like Keemstar here. Like that kind of stuff, like.
Yeah. Well, people, they'll like fake like fist fights with each other, People have, X amount of million subscribers just so they can like cross mesh their audiences and.
Yeah, and they'll fake
like
fights
there's
and
been
stuff.
Like a lot of negativity in the world, and over the last year, a lot of that is the animosity kind of leaks out through YouTube comments and YouTube videos and stuff like that. So we just try to stay positive. You make people laugh and stay away from stuff like that because it's just it gets so old.
You guys do a pretty good job of that, and I gotta commend you for having the cooking channel, fishing channel, the gaming stuff that you used to do a lot.
Work harder on them.
Well, you get to at least vent and do something else different with it.
I'll tell you something that's crazy about cooking videos, right? So I got into this, like, I love to cook. I always have loved to cook. I believe that if you're going to make something, you should make it taste like the best that you can because you're just going to eat it. So whatever. But like to make a cooking video on YouTube, you have to sit down, I have to like plan the meal, plan the ingredients, go to the store, buy all that, like set up the camera gear, shoot the video, make the food, like take it out, film me eating it, put away all the camera gear, all the lights, and clean up everything. By the time I'm done, it's like a 6 to 8 hour process.
Plus, you got to edit
and occasionally, yeah, exactly. Like sometimes I'll like screw it up and the food will be terrible, so I just can't use the video. I was like, it's so much work. And people don't like necessarily realize that sometimes, and they'll just be like, "Oh, this is stupid, like shitty video, blah blah blah, whatever." And it's just like, man, like you should try to do this sometimes because it's really difficult. But I don't know. I am fortunate, like you said, to be able to have those avenues of outlets for my passions and things like that.
Speaking of cooking stuff, I also am a cooking geek, and have you bought a sous vide?
What is no?
It's a metal tube basically that you submerge in water. It's got a little heating element in it, and it lets you precisely control the temperature of the water. So the idea is you put a piece of meat in a airtight or watertight bag, submerge the meat for like an hour or so at the temperature you want the final product to be. So I'll take a steak, you want it medium rare, right? That's 135 degrees. So I'll cook the steak for 45 minutes in my sink in this hot water. And from top to bottom, it's perfectly 135 the whole way through. Then I take it out and I use a plumber's blowtorch to sear it and get the Mylar effect. And then it looks like a restaurant where you cut it and it's pink and even the entire way. There's no gray, and then there's crust.
Yeah,
and
I'll check that out.
And because it takes a little while to cook, like all the connective tissue really breaks down, like you slow cooked it. So it's like incredibly tender. Like it's one of the best steaks I've ever made was a $5 New York strip I got just to try the thing out. I'm like, oh my God, this is real. And
check that out.
You can even, mine's Bluetooth, so I can look up a recipe and hit start, and it just sends it to the thing and starts doing what it needs to do. And it's
with the right malware, it can be used for a DDoS attack.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Bluetooth, not Wi-Fi, Dustin.
Got to make sacrifices when you want to stay connected.
But it's not.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, it's fun.
All about kitchen gadgets.
I
just smoked some ribs yesterday, like for 4 hours. That was fun. They were good.
Dustin, if my sous vide while I'm cooking, I am going to do a brisket in the sous vide solely because it takes 35 hours. I gotta try that right one time. But yes, if my sous vide takes down Russia or Russia uses it to take down the U.S., if my steak works out okay, that's I'll deal with the consequences.
What if the only device you actually just stick it in the water?
What?
The device you stick into the water and it does its thing. I'm just looking at it. I googled it.
They're great. There was a Black Friday sale, and
it looks like an Amazon Echo.
Yes, it actually does. It's like a cylinder like that with like a metal bottom.
Try using your Amazon Echo as a sous vide.
No, it doubles as one. It's fine.
Oh my God! If I had a Bluetooth speaker on my sous vide, it'd be the best. So
you see the guy who made a video about the iPhone 7, and he's like, you could just drill a hole right here for a headphone jack with this, size drill bit, and like he posted it online as a hack, and people actually started drilling holes in their iPhone. And some of the feedback, like they were so pissed off that like he told them to do that. It was, oh man. I just it reminds me of like the do-it-yourself hack videos.
That's like
Amazon Echo.
I saw a dude that taped batteries to the end of an Ethernet port to say that it would speed up your internet, which is like so clearly a joke. And the amount of heartbreak in the comments was hilarious.
I tried this; it did not speed up my.
I just did a speed test. This is bullshit. I'm like. I mean,
you're using the wrong kind of batteries, buddy. Yeah.
Got to use the Duracell, man.
Poor souls. It's kind of interesting. Whatever this sous vide, whatever section this is on William and Sonoma on the website, it brought me into like the odd gadget zone page, whatever. So there's just like all these like strange things. No, they all look interesting, but they're just like
rabbit
things
hole.
I've never seen before. Yeah.
You're going to be getting these cooking packages. Nikki's going to be like, what the hell? And you're like, it's a tax write-off. Well, it's going for the channel. It's. I need this.
We went through that phase, actually. We kept buying stuff to cook with.
Well, did you guys end up with a pressure cooker? That also...
No. But I bought a pretty nice food processor.
That's also incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing what those things do.
Yes. So, Dustin, Mankind Divided. 5-hour stream. I will admit I was not able to take a full 5 hours to watch you play Mankind Divided.
That's all right. It's archived. You can go back.
Zarek was there. Big time.
He was. Yeah, he took a nap in the middle. Which I can't blame him.
I went to just check on our YouTube stats because I do like watching your archive streams. So I was just tooling around and I went to our video manager to watch, and the video wasn't there because it hadn't processed or whatever. And I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, did he leave the stream on? I click, you're still playing. And it was like 4 hours after the last time I had checked. I was like, damn. So you played for 5 hours on stream. Must have been going good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I only had one hang up. So there was like some dudes running a checkpoint, and every time I talked to him, it ended in a fight. And I haven't built my character for like head-on fights yet.
Yeah, you've been straight stealth
at all. So I went through the conversation a couple of times and died both times. And then finally I just said screw it and just kind of stealth ambushed them like out of nowhere and beat it the first time. So it was Deus Ex has been a series that really allows you to kind of go at things in different ways. And it was kind of unfortunate that the dialogue trees didn't accommodate for that.
Okay.
But after dying a couple times, I was just like, well, I could probably just sneak up and like knock this guy out. And I did that instead, and it worked. But yeah, other than that, hacking, breaking into people's houses, taking their stuff,
nice.
going invisible.
Did you find any more? Johnny, he was telling me a couple weeks ago when he was playing, he ended up breaking into someone's apartment and punched a punching bag that had been like a set piece just in the apartment, and that unlocked something. Like it's like if you walked into an abandoned apartment and there was a boxing bag there, you'd hit it.
I might kick it, actually.
Who would? Okay. Well, that would still unlock it. But you'd still like to...
I often find myself, like, karate kicking doors closed. I'm 31 years old. I'm like, man, I wonder, like, when does that stop as a guy? 'Cause I do it every time. Like, whap-ya! And it's, like, the worst karate kick ever. But...
It's still karate kick.
And opportunity.
And the door shut.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You punch the bag if you had robot arms.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, I would do it. Definitely.
So it was a great Easter egg that they put a hidden object in there.
Mm.
Like if you go with your natural human instincts to reward you.
That's what I like. Elder Scrolls is my favorite game series of all time, pretty much for whatever reasons. But yeah, I'm always like the stealth, sneak around, steal everybody's shit, and I love that aspect of the game. And I like the fact that different types of games where it's kind of like choose your own destiny, so to speak, where you get to pick your character, your skill sets, and how you want to go through the environment and interact.
Very cool. So Dustin, I know you said you're not sure how far you in. You think only halfway?
I'm not even sure. I finally made it to a different area. Like I was in Prague, and now I'm in a different area. Like
screw Prague. Slovakia forever.
Prague is kind of the hub world, and I have left that completely and gone to somewhere else.
Okay. Now, are there skill trees in Mankind Divided?
Oh yeah.
Are you on the brink of maxing out anything because you went too hard into stealth?
Um, let's see. I've maxed out my hacking for sure. Because that's one thing that I don't like about the Deus Ex games is if you have a level 1 hacking skill and you find something level 5, you just can't hack it at all. Like you can't touch it. It's not like, oh, okay, this is going to be really difficult for you. It's not even a possibility.
Kind of like in an
so that was,
RPG,
like,
if
the
you
first thing I
wander
thought
in,
of.
if you wander somewhere with too big of monsters, and the RPG is like, no, it's not really an invisible wall, but you're not doing this yet.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of that happened like in the Fallout series too. You know, you couldn't like, oh, sorry, this computer is out of your, skill level or whatever.
And what else did I do? I think, it's mainly just been hacking stuff right now.
Like your style.
I'm bad at stealth. I get too impatient to do the stealth stuff. Like even I remember in Ocarina of Time, just trying to sneak through the courtyard to see Zelda the first time.
That's bad stealth. That's different.
I hated that stuff. Well, that was my exposure to it.
Yeah.
I did though the tutorial in Hitman though. I really did enjoy that.
Yeah, that's Hitman's a good, interesting game too. Because same like you run and gun, real loud or real quiet, like hardest difficulty. You have to follow all the different little techniques that they give you. It's
and that new one that there's a lot you can do, but there's certain parameters. I don't know. I've watched a lot of people play it, and it gets really exciting at times. Because you get in these really weird moments. But I did see the guys at Giant Bomb play it with the developers, and there were definitely times where the Giant Bomb guys were giving too much credit to the AI. Where the developers, they made the game, they knew kind of the corners that you could cut as far as like not being seen or not being noticed and stuff like that. So, well, cool. Dustin, you didn't see any video game concerts that you forgot about this week?
Not that I recollect. Give
you a few minutes.
Yeah. If I did, then I'll remember by the end of the show.
All right. Well, we got time for you. So
if I got to hang out with Tommy Tallarico or something.
So, all right. Well, Dustin, I picked up a rad game. Did
we talk about that on the show? I think it was afterwards.
It was. John, I bought a homebrew game called Haunted Halloween 86. And it's a homebrew NES cart, but it's neon orange like the old N64 consoles. And it has, I don't have, let's see if I can get it. I don't have the cart. It's in the other room, but here's the box art. It's backwards because the stupid YouTube camera won't flip. But it's got like the actual box, and then on the back, it's a real like NES cart looking, like shitty screenshots and all. The game is fantastic, and the music is excellent. There's a nice simple platform system or password system. But as you collect things, you can pick a different skill. It's not like a skill tree, but you can enable double jump, or you can enable dash, or you can enable different things kind of each chapter as you move along. And it's been awesome so far. I've been very impressed. I've only played 2 homebrew games in my life so far, this being the second one, and I'm 2 for 2 with like bangers, I guess. Just great games. Pure Solar being the first one. So I played that. I'm going to be streaming that here eventually. Also, yesterday I streamed RC Pro Am for the NES. That game's rad. It's super hard. It's made by Rare. I wasn't able to get to the third car, but I played it. It was fun. I almost played all the way through Bioshock Infinite this weekend. I was just in the mood for a shooter, so I just started the campaign, and before I knew it, like I was deep. So I got back into Bioshock Infinite. That was a lot of fun. John, you played some Forza Horizon 3, right? I think I saw that on your channel. Did like a initial impressions or something? Oh no, I'm muted. Hold on. What is going on here? What? 1 second. Let me see if I can get my audio back on. It's not broadcasting anything. Oh, come on. I think my DAC went bad. Where is it? There it is. Wouldn't be a podcast without technical issues. Okay. There we go. We can hear everybody again.
Tony can't. Okay.
Yeah, okay. We are back. We're back. So.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, John, you played some Forza Horizon 3?
Yeah. And it's cool. The world, the environment set in Australia is pretty cool. The whole rally truck aspect of it is really cool, but it's like a great arcade version, of a racing game. You just want to like mash around with your friends and play.
I got real into, if you have Groove Music on Windows and you use OneDrive to upload songs to it, in Groove Music, if you make a playlist, you can select it inside the Forza game. So I spent a lot of time putting hundreds of songs into a playlist, and my criteria was, if I was in a badass racing scenario, would I want to hear this song? And it's just been really fun. So I'll get like, dancey electronic music or 90s rock, or it's been really cool. I really have been enjoying that game.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then also, I don't want to dox your PlayStation handle, but you're one of a couple of people that I don't quite remember which one you are. So I may have recruited you on my team, and I may have not. But it's really neat, the whole Drivatar system.
Yeah.
Just the fact,
Go ahead.
I was just the fact that, I don't know, like, I would see Tony's avatar drive by me, and I'm like, don't pass me. I'm going to challenge you right now.
Yeah. And just adding that different, like personalizing the competition experience a little bit, I guess, versus just having like Richard or Racer 1 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that kind of confused me, like in the beginning a little bit, because I was like, wait, are these people are they actually driving around, or is this just me?
They do a good job, because that car will screw up. If your friend's not an excellent Forza racer, they do a good job with making them feel kind of real, I guess. Like, Drivatar is the corniest name ever, but it is accurate.
Classic Microsoft.
And, they buy Rare, and that's what they do with it. But I do want to mention, Bioshock Infinite has held up incredibly well. That game is so good, and I think 10 years from now, it'll still be really good. It's a silly story, but it's just very fun to play.
Classic. The whole series is just fun.
I need to get back to 1 and 2. I've only played each of those a little bit. I got really put off on 2 because it didn't have controller support, and I was not down with mouse and keyboards at the time. I'll figure it out now. Tony in chat says that he tends to drive Classic Elite Scott into Rails. Yeah. So when we first started our YouTube channel, John, I could have sworn I had the conversation with Tony that, okay, you call your name, because we were going to play games on YouTube. So I'm like, all right, you call yourself Classic Elite Tony. I'll call myself Classic Elite Scott. We'll be good to go. I don't know, like a couple weeks later, like Tony's just got Classic Elite. And I'm like, motherfucker, like sniping the name.
That's funny.
But it is really cool to see, to see friends like driving around in that. There was a really heartwarming story about a guy who lost his good friend. And
I think I saw that.
Yeah, and then he got to race with his friend again, which sounds silly, but I could totally understand getting really emotional about something like that. Almost, I don't know if you guys have ever had friends pass away, but I won't delete their number from my phone, kind of a thing. Like, it just feels weird, and it would be a really nice thing, like, if my friend Dan from college would like show up on my Forza game, I would just be elated, as silly as that sounds. It's really neat that they're doing that kind of stuff. And then the last thing I played this week is I played Double Dragon 4, which came out. And if you're not familiar, Double Dragon 4 is a successor to Double Dragon 3 on the NES. It's made with the Double Dragon 2 and Double Dragon 1 sprites. The story takes place after Double Dragon 2. And for better or for worse, they were true as hell to Double Dragon. It controls in a very clunky way. Tony just says, my poor wife is sitting in the same room as I listen and heard you call me a motherfucker. Tell Amy I'm sorry. I apologize.
Half-hearted,
yeah. It's all.
Steal the name.
It's for the people. Yeah. Explain to her that you were, and I will apologize now. But yeah, Double Dragon 4 it's got the remix updated kind of music I don't like, but as soon as you turn on the retro soundtrack, it's awesome. I don't know, it feels and plays like Double Dragon, but it's got all the rough edges that they really could have cleaned up. When you're stunned and on the ground, he will stick to the ground too much. Enemies can be unfair at times, but it's Double Dragon. If you want Double Dragon 2, you can play this again. There's some combos added. You don't have to use weird button combos for like a jump spin like you did in 2. So it's cool.
Hey, are there dedicated punch and kick buttons?
Yes.
All right.
Which is great. And you can set specials. So you can do like a kind of a roundhouse kick. Mm-hmm. You can a separate button can do the elbow back. So I actually have my left bumper, right bumper, B button, X and Y that all do different attacks. And then there's a jump, and you can map those natively. And Steam will warn you that it's a keyboard-only game, but you can map it to your controller fine.
Word.
It's not that great, honestly, but but it's only
talk about it.
But it's only $7, and it's fine at $7. If I would have ended up,
Well, if you liked the original game, I mean, there's probably a nostalgic feel there to
absolutely and
relive it a little bit.
You can tell these guys really paid attention.
Really bare hands.
Like they knew straight up what they were doing. Like they love NES Ninja Gaiden or not Double Dragon. So that's been it for what I've been playing this week. So let's get into comments from last episode. I'll get to Dumez. Zarek, we missed you this week. So hope all is well. He seems to be doing good on his streams and stuff. So I'm sure things are good his way.
He was playing Dark Souls 2 or something.
He did, which I thought was insane. John, he just recently beat Dark Souls 1 and used Doom as a palate cleanser and is already going back to Dark Souls 2. And he'd never played Dark Souls 1, and he didn't, he got through it on his own. Like, nice. He wasn't watching facts and stuff. It was quite impressive.
Good for him. I feel like old now that I get to certain points in video games where I'm just like, I'll just look this up on YouTube. I rack my brain, but I just don't want to sit there and be stuck.
I think that's totally fine, though.
Yeah, I used to be the guy making those videos, not just the guy watching them.
But at some point you have to value your time over stubbornness with a game, or if you're getting burnt out or it's being unfair. Eventually you can say, piss off, I'm going to go play something else. And it's not like the one game we had that weekend when we rented or whatever. Tony says that he picked up the Double Dragon trilogy on Android for $350. Ooh.
Nice.
He's also been watching Zarek. His streams are great. I love watching his stuff. All right, we have comments from last week's episode 216. If you would like to comment on and have it read on the air, you can go and leave a comment under this YouTube video, or feel free to send us an email. Our email is classicelite@gmail.com. That's classic L337. And Demez writes, and he says, my brother has an Oculus Rift with the full room setup kit and fancy motion controller. He says Super Hot is fucking insane. You can stand there and aim with your arm like you're actually inside of that world. He's got to go visit and try it. Dustin, I did buy Super Hot. I have not played it yet because I need to sit down like I'm in the mood for an action movie, and I'm going to one sitting play through that.
Okay.
Full disclosure, VR makes me nauseous. It's kind of like weird. It's terrible. Can't stand it.
And the Super Hot outside of VR is supposed to be an amazing game, but with VR, I guess it's pretty neat as well. Have you tried multiple kinds of VR? And it's like unanimously.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Universal Studios?
Yes. They have not recently.
3D like rides, like the screen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, like same deal. It just it makes me nauseous.
Do you get car sick?
Not really. Only once ever. It was the worst thing that's ever happened to me, though. It was awful.
I hear if you get VR sick, you're down for hours.
Yeah.
If you start
weird.
to
I
feel
get hot and sweaty and want to puke. It's not good.
You're not the only one. That's a bummer. I can see why that happens, but it doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah.
Sometimes with Batman, I did a little bit though. Which is still neat.
Playing that on my buddy's PlayStation, and the first scene when you're in front of the piano and you unlock the piano with the key. I'm just taking all the stuff off the piano and just throwing it everywhere. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, why not? It's VR.
It's VR. And Alfred's there, and
I kept trying to jump off the building.
My dad dropped the key when I was trying to show him, and I just did it correctly in the first time, and like a dad, they screw up the technology. And I'm like, you dropped the key, shit. Now I don't know how to tell you to pick it up or look around. And it just, it respawned where it needed to. And I was like, oh,
after goodness. 5 seconds.
Yeah. If I needed to tell my dad,
I did that too. The first time I picked up the key, I dropped it. I'm like, what do I do? My friend's like, I don't know. I didn't drop it.
Yeah. Well, see, John, you're well on your way to being a great dad. Just by that alone.
Oh, yeah.
He also is commenting on my lavender complaint last week. Lavender smell is better than my blanket smell, which is zesty cheese, Doritos, and crusty dry... Okay, well, yeah. I didn't read the whole part of that. Man stuff. I was saying it with such enthusiasm.
Let it slide.
I was like, man, you're going to go the whole way with that, huh?
Yeah. I assumed it was Mountain Dew. Yeah, John, I bought a pillow topper for my guest bedroom mattress, and it smelled like they put a smell in it. It's good disgusting.
Glad they could figure that out.
It's too intense. It's I feel bad. Whoever sleeps in that bed's gonna feel like they're sleeping on car air fresheners.
Some people might be into that.
Maybe. Supposedly lavender's supposed to help you sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not piney enough.
Someone will find out.
If they are big pale ale fans, or IPA fans, they will, they'll love it because it'll be all hoppy for them.
Smells like beer and not puke. It's good.
Well, I was telling Dustin last week, if I woke up hungover in that, it would make me puke. I put a bucket next to the bed, so it's all good. Dumbass also says, speaking of Ninja Gaiden, I hope you have checked out Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge on the Wii U. I have not. He says it's very excellent and it's hard. Also, the combo slashing is a lot of fun. I just popped it back into my Wii U and enjoy some of the bonus content, and it's a blast. He also recommends getting a OneDrive account from Microsoft because you do get a terabyte of cloud storage for $70 a year. And you also get the Microsoft products like Office and all that stuff, which is a good deal. I already have Office and all that. But that's good to consider if you need to work from home or you want cloud storage. $70 a year seems totally reasonable for that. And maybe like you need clients that don't do Google Doc stuff. Dumbass also says, bizarre 90s rumors. This was specifically the rumor that I was talking about. Marilyn Manson removed a rib so he could give himself fellatio. Richard Gere put a gerbil up his butt. I think that was in South Park. And Rod Stewart needed a stomach pump for reasons. I remember some of those, but that specific rumor. Now he's Canadian, so I'm glad that these weird urban legends made it outside of the States. Did you ever hear that Marilyn Manson needing to remove a rib rumor?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How, like, before the internet, how in the hell did stuff like that like go viral? It did.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Yeah, that's who knows.
It's just really weird. And like, to go way back to the beginning of the episode, one of my favorite things about listening to the Cartoon Retrocast is that one host, Jeremy, grew up in like inner city Baltimore. Mike grew up in Hawaii. I grew up here in Ohio. Dustin, you're from the South. You're from the Midwest too, John. We all have like almost identical memories of all of our entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think kids will be as lucky from a commercial standpoint. They won't be as taken advantage of. But it's just bizarre. Like, you think of things back then, and I don't know, even some things that felt regional weren't. Like, Marilyn Manson's from Ohio. Brian, whatever his name is. I forget now. If I was in bar trivia, I'd be pissed at myself for not remembering that. But he's from, like, Youngstown or something. And so I thought it was just, like, a local, like, area thing about that rumor. But it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it sucks to be a Marilyn Manson. No pun intended.
I missed it.
Going back to the gerbil story with Richard Gere, there was like in 1998 there was a story on the radio in LA, and it was like, I forgot who did it, but it was like about two gay guys and their gerbil, and about how like they put the gerbil in one guy, and like somehow they lit it on fire and it came shooting out of the guy and like hit the guy in the nose and broke it. But it was really like hilarious, and people thought it was funny, but it was just like a radio, morning talk show skit.
Brian
But
Warner,
it,
thank
like,
you.
oh my god, it's so funny. I just remember like listening to it and thinking that it was real when I was like in high school. Like, whoa, like that's some crazy stuff going on in like California. But yeah, kind of funny.
Oh yeah, Tony's singing "The Beautiful People." That was when I was learning guitar. That was one of my favorite. Like, that song was big at the time, and it's easy to play, and it's in drop D. So it's like, as you're learning, you just push down 3 strings with one finger, and you get the palm mute crunch in there. I don't know. It was fun. So, all right. Well, we got another good comment from Tony. Dustin, you want to take care of this?
Yeah, Tony says, line of the week. My whole house smells like an old lady. My kids watched the Skylanders Netflix series and loved it. GameIndustry.biz is as credible as the political news site President Mommy Blogger. And yes, I made that up. It will be interesting to see how the Switch sells. 40 million? Not sure. We will see. Thanks for bringing up I Am Setsuna. I really want that game, but have been waiting for a sell. The game actually retails for 40, not 20. If it was 20, I would have pulled the trigger. I do not know about Double Dragon 4. That sounds awesome. I agree that I do not like people fueling their gaming opinions with their political views. Always extreme. Scott, I'm the same way about horror games. They really bother me. I really want to play Bloodborne, Resident Evil, etc., but man, I normally get ready to start and psych myself out. So for now, I have to live vicariously through Dustin playing them all. You guys brought up Ratchet & Clank again on PS4. Man, I need to pick that up to play with the kids. I did get a PSP through eBay this week and picked up a Ratchet & Clank game for it, my first one.
Poor Tony. It showed up busted.
Oh, no. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
I just realized as I Googled, is there a Donald Trump video game? And there is.
Of course. Go to itch.io. I'm sure there's hundreds.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dustin, thanks for bringing up John Wick. I watched the movie I watched the night you stream this cast. Is there a tie to the gaming comic community with that movie? There is a slight one. What's that bank robbery game? Payday. Payday 2 had him as a downloadable character.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Hey,
Payday
John
2
Wick
is so
2.
difficult, and they made it so much harder in the recent updates. I don't get it.
Oh, really? I guess, yeah, there's still a big community with Payday
game.
2.
Yeah, it's a really, I love co-op games, so it fits that genre very well. But yeah, it's so difficult.
Difficult co-op, I love. I will say I'm very excited to see John Wick 2. The reunion of Neo and Morpheus in our faces. Not John Wick 1 was so good.
Yeah.
Yep, it really was a great movie. I watched it several times.
It's just a fun action movie. It's not deep. It's just, I would be pissed if I was him, and if I had that, I would retaliate the same way. The
whole movie is so funny that he's like, do you know whose car this is? Like, he punches him. It's like, yeah, your dipshit son stole John Wick's car and killed his dog. His dad's like, oh, God. This is not good.
We're all in trouble now. Yeah, I really, that's a fun movie. Even though Tony...
Keanu Reeves, actually, too, he's like a really skilled, like, shooter. Sports shooter-man guy, whatever. I don't know if that was, like, part of, like, becoming a, like, an action hero where you, like, learn how to do that stuff, or he's passionate about it, but damn, that guy can shoot some targets.
I think it's both. I think it was...
Yeah.
Like, he did it because of acting. It was like, this is awesome. I really enjoy this. Because he's been, like...
It'd be funny if, like, somebody tried to break into his house and actually kill him. Like, like, some Russian mafia guy with, like, 30 people, and he just went, like, John Wick on and killed them all.
Yeah,
that would be funny, but it'd be like, I
believe that he would be more like John Wick than the pussy DJ in that terrible horror movie I watched with him in it, where those two girls kidnapped him.
Yeah.
I forget what the hell that was called. It was. I love Keanu Reeves, and oh my goodness, he was in a horrible, like, horror movie. He was like this famous DJ, and two girls just show up and, like, ruin his life, and that's it. And, like, some people die. It was really, over. It was really bad. All right.
I was trying to remember the name of that movie, but I couldn't come up with anything.
It's worth not remembering.
Tony goes on to say, to me, it seemed like a fun, tough guy movie, but I did not see why everyone goes crazy over it. I thought it was awesome just based on the way he manipulates the firearm is actually like real life tactically advantageous. And the way he would index to the body and how he would change magazines and
And I loved the choreography of that, and I had read that the choreography was based on the amount of bullets and clips. So it was accurate as far as what was happening.
Yeah.
Like, from a count perspective. So if you were trying to do CinemaSins on that portion, they couldn't do it.
Like, he would fire a rifle and transition to the sidearm before he would reload. Like, that was all really good stuff. I bought all the Resident Evil movies a while back, but have not watched them yet, even though I have not played the games. Roll, I suck. Dustin, awesome that you dove into Fallout 4. I still haven't gone back to play that, but there's like a million games that I'm trying to get through right now. I've had it from the beginning.
Fallout is just like, God, it's such a massive world that it's just so hard to keep up with.
Ginormo. And have not dove into it much. He got Fallout 4 and haven't dove into it. Story of my life. I agree with you guys that there are so many games coming out. It is so hard to catch up, choose what to play, etc. Not complaining though. Gaming is winning.
For sure.
Just if you like the idea of me ripping out strategy guides and putting them in sleeves, I will start to buy cheap ones at the local store, rip them out, sleeve them, and send them to you randomly. Lol, JK, have a great week, guys. Another great episode. That would be awesome. If I had a package sitting on my door and I open it up and it's like the strategy guide for Nintendogs or Game Party 7 for the Wii.
Right. Cool. Well, thanks, Tony. Appreciate you hanging out in chat and commenting on the episode. We're very lucky to have that kind of stuff. So, all right. Well, everyone, that's going to wrap up the episode. So, John, before I rattle off our social media stuff, Anything else that you had on your mind? Anything else you wanted to chat about?
Nope. I'm pretty excited about the Nintendo Switch and Zelda. Take anything away from this podcast, I guess that's for me. I'm just really excited about that.
Hey, maybe this spring we can chat notes and have you back on, because I'll be getting that at launch too. So
Cool.
Cool, man. Where are the best places for people to find you?
Just Google Nikki and John pranks, Nikki space AND space JOHN space PRANK, Nikki and John pranks. And then you can just find all my channels through my main YouTube channel there.
Good deal. Well, John, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I didn't.
Yeah, man.
Now my DAC went out a little bit there, but I didn't lose half the episode this time, so it's a step in the right direction. Next time there will be no
technical. Well, my son.
But it was great to have you again, man. Thank you very much. So everybody, want to thank Ben Landis very much for letting us use his song "Through the Forest" as our intro music. For our podcast, if you're interested in the audio stuff, you can get our RSS feed at classicelite.com. That's classic L337. We're also on Google Play, Podbean. Fuck you, Podbean, by the way. SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, and also
and Tony.
and various places that you find podcasts. There's some aggregators that download our stuff, and if you search for it, you should find it. But those are the official places that we put it intentionally. On social media, we're Classic Elite on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And Twitch, we're Classic_Elite. We record live on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, so you can check us out live if you'd like. And on Fridays, we typically get the podcast published audio and video from that perspective. Outro music this week, Dustin, my boy, IU Shut Duff, is back.
All right.
This week he put out a song called Starcade, which is fitting since we were talking about Starcade's return last week. So it's great. I love the way this guy layers his songs. And if you're into electronic music and you like something that just keeps building on itself without sounding like noise, I think you'll really enjoy this one as well. He does a great job of that. My crush, Chip Zell, she put out a new song, a new remix today. Maybe that'll be next week's track. But IU Shut Duff gets it this week. So, John, thanks again very much for joining. And
thanks for having me. Last.
You're very welcome. I would like to have you on. We won't have as big of a break as last time. And everybody, thank you very much for listening to episode 216 of the Classic Elite Podcast. And we'll see you next. No, I said 216. Thank you very much for listening to 217. And we will see you next week for 218.
Goodbye.
Boosh.